Hello. Yo. This is this is Shaun here. Well, if you've been looking around my page, you've seen that I've done mostly like dissection videos and walkthroughs for models and stuff like that. But this one here is for English. So, I mean, enjoy the poetry if you like it, but otherwise this probably isn't going to help you with anything. Give me one moment and I'll open this up. I read Robert Frost's Out recently, and this is what came out of it. When I first began to read Robert Frost's Out, the cadence fell into place immediately. I'll point out that this poet clearly has a sense for writing rhymes. While alliterating beautifully, he also has a tendency for settling into the natural ebb and flow, as human speech does go. Imaginary ions approaching my foramina, olfactory reaction invigorates my stamina. His choice of words is so specific and the visuals elicited, it's almost as if I myself held the saw. Lifted high above my head, embracing the approaching end of this long and drawn-out, dull day of displaying the traits a young man's supposed to. Not opposed to the gross of it, the brunt of the run-of-the-mill expectations that simply cannot be neglected, lest the rest of the family turn their disapproving heads toward he. While he, maneuvering into the depths of what's expected, loses sight of the goal of it all, until the angel of his day called out. All of a sudden, out rushed the pour that flows from the now open door of his childlike glee. But oh, no. It seems that he has yet to obtain the mastery that's utterly necessary for smooth transition from dangerous to safe. The generous placement of trust into the dust spitter reached up to blunderous proportions as the rapture giver cried out, "Dinner!" Enticed by the sight of she, excited to dine, he thinks, finally! The sisters hiss their sinister joy as the less man than boy, finally, reaches the stitch that, sewn so long ago, is of a different color than the rest. This here thread keeps the focus of their attention. All mention of the fabric of reality as pertaining to the boy seem to revolve around this tragic malady that we've deemed worthy to be called youth. The simple truth is that this kid did lose his grip on the bar's handle. Out, brief candle. The universe knew that his verse would flicker quickly and fade without preamble. The buzzsaw snarled and rattled through his carpals, parting the path between the seemingly serene scene that is a boy, cutting wood to warmly welcome, to enjoy the family tree he fell from. The idea was to use the buzzsaw to draw and quarter the logs down to a manageable size, but now it seems that the child... The idea was to use the buzzsaw to draw and quarter the logs down to a manageable size, but now it seems that the child's life will soon subside as his vehicle capsizes in the turbulence arising and all, right before his sister's eyes. Will she grow up to possibly think that she caused this thing? Impossible to say. But hey, she may not yet know that causality does not equal causation. From her station, this may just lead to condemnation of the self. Pure, raw understanding came into fruition, and as his hand grew numb, intuition stuck the words into his mouth. He shouted out about his hand, something along the lines of establishing desire to keep the damn thing. Seen. Deep in the depths of the theater. Surgery, that is. No perjury convened to entertain those witnessing the plain drain of life from the cheeks of a child. Pink, at first. Next it's greenish white, and then gray as the wrist injuries causes him to sink into the wild and tropic plain where he feels no more pain. 'Twould be vain, and perhaps detrimental for those who stay behind to carry this within their mental, nay, best they all move on rather than dwell on this here night. And though it might be difficult, the results of a brooding, sulking population consumed by death would be the death of us all. The fates weave their threads in ways beyond the comprehension of our heads, so we, with great apprehension, step outside of the tension by Chronos, lifted over the fission between that which we call life and whatever else there is. It's this temporary air of temper Hephaestus lent us that sets us apart from us all. Or, at least we think it does. Because all of this culture-laden industrial fuzz inside our minds, I have come to find that Robert Frost within this rhyme tries to remind us that our time on earth is limited. Exhibited within the lines are details that describe the idea that we strive to understand, why we draw breath here in this land. Or, more plainly stated, this boy stepped out from the life of a child he knew, through into the role of a man whose boots he clearly could not fill. The sheer thrill he experienced at the notion that his hopes had been met, and here was the end of his long, hard night, starkly in contrast to the vast hysteria that is the end of his short, fast life. Alright, so I stumbled through a couple pieces of it, but, whatever. Hope you liked it. That's how this flows, Professor.